Alex here with a legal nuts and bolts video on compensatory damages. In this video, I will cover both special and general damages, at least in the abstract sense. As I mentioned in all of the videos that cover technical topics like this, you're going to have to look into your own statutes and case law and figure out the intricacies of how it might work in your jurisdiction. So anyway, compensatory damages are used to make you whole. And what I mean by that is the court is supposed to award the monies that are going to bring you to the point that you were when you were damaged by the defendant, not any better off than you were, and also, of course, not leaving you, with partial recovery. The court's supposed to award all of the damages that you've proven anyway, all the way up to the point of having made you whole. So there's two other subcategories inside compensatory damages. One of them is special damages, and one of them is general damages. Your general damages are going to be, for the most part, non-economic. So pain and suffering, like for example, if you lost an arm, and like emotional distress. So that is actually probably going to have to be a video in and of itself because it's so complicated. So I'm not going to talk any more about emotional distress in this video. But most people have heard about suing for mental anguish, emotional distress. I think it's also formally called intentional affliction of emotional distress. I'm not sure about that though. And as I mentioned, pain and suffering, which would be like the future loss of something. So like, if you don't have your arm anymore for the rest of your life, there has to be some kind of money amount pinned on that. If you lost an eyeball or something like that, that's just not enough to just award your, the cost for the surgery, like the medical bills and stuff. That's not enough. And that's what I mean by pain and suffering. I probably am going to have to do a separate video on that too someday in the future. Your special damages are your economic losses. So like you loss of earnings from not being able to go to work for having been injured, for example. Your property damage, which is super common. Like if somebody hits your car, they're supposed to pay for the damage that you did to your car. Medical expenses, which I covered previously. So like if you did lose an eye, that would be like the surgery expenses, bills that you had to pay. That piece of that would be considered a special damage. And as I mentioned, like the pain and suffering would fall into the general damages area. And of course, there's also medical bills that really, like you might fully recover, like a bruise or something that just fully heals. And so, of course, that's just going to have a special damages component to it. This video isn't going to really go on for much longer than this. I mentioned at the beginning, and I'm just going to reiterate that. Make sure you look into the details as to what compensatory damages are in your state. It's probably going to be the same in all 50 states with very minor differences, tweaks here and there. Possible caps on things like pain and suffering might be different in the other states. Whether or not special damages apply, and like for loss of earnings and stuff, such things like that may differ. But the general overarching principle of making a person whole, is going to be consistent across all 50 states. And just take a look if you're doing a complicated lawsuit representing yourself. Just make sure you take a look into your own statutes, rules, and case law, and don't just fully rely on this video. Hopefully I gave you clues as to some of the terms you might need to look at, but I can't put all of the particulars in a single video because every case is unique. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end this video.